Alright, what's up everybody? It's the Erie Better Beer Bureau back at you with another review. I'm Dave.
Pat.
And Maury. Today we have the latest variation of Boris. This is Boris Van Wink, and this was brewery-only. Boris is their Imperial Oatmeal Stout, and this version, I assume, is aged in Pappy Van Winkle barrels. Weighs in at 9.4% alcohol. Hoppin is out of Akron, Ohio. So we're going to get into this one and let you know what we think about it.
Ooh.
Wow, I mean, that's pretty roasty.
There's an interesting mix of coffee and bourbon on this beer.
Yeah, I get some coffee, but I get
an intense roast.
intense roastiness, but like roasted oats. Like I get a huge above and beyond. I mean, we've all had regular Boris, a handful of times. I don't remember the aroma. I mean, I'm getting like an actual like oatmeal smell out of this.
There is a graininess to this aroma, and it is very roasty to the point where it's almost like charred.
Yeah, like a charred
burnt
oatmeal.
cereal. There's like a burnt cereal aroma to this.
And I'm getting a little bit of that bourbon, but it's not overwhelming to me.
I'm kind of liking it though. It's like a nice mild bourbon smell. I'm getting a huge char, huge roastiness, and like that oatmeal smell. Cheers.
Wow. More of the same on the taste.
Yeah.
It's real woody and roasty.
Real woody and roasty, yep.
It is incredibly woody.
And that part on the back end where usually you get more bourbon and barrel characteristics, that
it's
roast,
dry and roasty.
yeah, that roast just carries through the back end.
Holy cow.
There's a kiss of sweetness in the middle, but it's short-lived. This is not an overly sweet or overly bourbon-forward stout.
No.
I feel like the bourbon and alcohol flavor is kind of up front to possibly mid-palate, and then it ends with a huge charred oak roastiness.
Which I'm kind of digging that.
I really like
roasty
it actually.
flavor.
Yeah, I really like this beer. It's got a nice, moderately full mouthfeel. I wouldn't say it's the chewiest, thickest stout, but
I'd say it's just a hair above medium.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I was expecting more coffee out of the taste on this one. And it's kind of dominated by that roasted oak.
I think it's
malt.
roasty.
Yeah.
It's incredibly
Roasted
roasty
malts,
and woody.
charred oak. I'm getting a little bit of that oatmeal taste, but it was huge on the aroma at first for me. I was kind of taken back by it.
Yeah, if it didn't have that little sweetness in the middle, it'd kind of be a roast bomb.
Oh, it would
Yeah.
be. It would be.
It's
It
a
needs
good
that.
thing this was aged in bourbon barrels. The bourbon's starting to come out to me a little bit now.
All right, for the Hoppin Boris Van Wink. This is a pretty solid beer. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I would enjoy a little more bourbon out of this beer. It's to the point now, bourbon barrel beers have become so popular that there's a certain expectation about the level of bourbon you get on them. This one, kind of light on the bourbon. We are getting a little bit more as we're drinking it. I just don't think it quite, especially with the kind of bourbon flavors you usually get out of Pappy Van Winkle. I would like some more of it. The sweetness that it has is necessary because otherwise you'd be drowning in bitter burnt malts. It's enjoyable. More of a kind of a roasty oatmeal stout with a hint of bourbon, but still very tasty. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Pat. I think it's a 4 out of 5. It is intensely roasty, but I like that. But the point that Pat really made, which I completely agree with, is there's a certain expectation when something's aged in Pappy Van Winkle barrels, and I think there's not a ton of bourbon character here. It's here, but it's really dialed down quite a bit, and I could also use a bit more, along with just a hair more sweetness, but it's still a really tasty beer. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm liking it a little bit more. I think I'm going to go 4.25 on this. I like that the bourbon isn't completely overwhelming, but I do agree with you guys that I could use a little more on there. what I do love about it is it has an interesting aroma. I love that oatmeal smell I was getting on it, and I really on this one am enjoying the roastiness. I love this huge roastiness. Now, that being said, like we mentioned, I could definitely use some more bourbon, but I could also use a little thicker mouthfeel personally.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a stickler for that on these Imperial Stouts. If it had a thicker mouthfeel and a little bourbon, I mean, this thing would be up in the 4.5, 4.75 range for me. But as it sits, I'm going 4.25 on this one.
Cool. Till next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.